fundamental project management tool called the work breakdown structure, often abbreviated as WBS. You can think of it as a simple but powerful method for taking a large, complex project and breaking it down into smaller, more manageable pieces. This technique makes any project easier to understand, plan, and execute. So, what exactly is a work breakdown structure? In simple terms, it is a hierarchical outline of all the work needed to complete a project. It organizes and defines the total scope of the project. According to the Project Management Institute, it is a results-oriented decomposition of the work to be performed by the project team. Essentially, it turns big goals into a clear list of tasks. This document is crucial because it connects the project's scope, its budget, and its schedule, making sure all plans are aligned. There are two primary types of work breakdown structures. The first is deliverable-based, and the second is phase-based. The most common and often preferred approach is the deliverable-based method. The main difference between them lies in what you see at the very first level of the structure. Let's look at the deliverable-based WBS first. This type clearly shows the relationship between the project's final deliverables, meaning the products, services, or results, and the work required to produce them. Imagine a construction project to build a house. In a deliverable-based structure, the first level might list major deliverables like foundation, framing, plumbing, and electrical. The second level under each of these would then break those deliverables down into the unique components needed to create them. For instance, under plumbing, you might have pipes, fixtures, and water heater. This structure keeps the focus on what you are ultimately creating. Now let's consider the phase-based WBS. In this type, the first level of the structure consists of the typical phases of a project. For our house example, level 1 might have phases like design, procurement, construction, inspection, and closeout. Then, the second level under each phase would list the unique deliverables for that phase. It is important to note that in both types of structures, the lower level elements are always specific deliverables. A phase-based structure requires you to divide the work for each deliverable into the specific phase where it happens. To keep everything clear, a supporting document called a WBS dictionary is often created to describe the work for each element in detail. A good work breakdown structure is simply one that makes your project easier to manage. Every project and every project manager is unique, so the right structure for you is the one that best answers this question. Which layout makes the project most manageable for my team? Next, let's discuss how to create a phase-based work breakdown structure. This is an iterative process, meaning you will refine it over time. A common method involves several key steps. First, gather all critical project documents. This includes the project charter, the scope statement, and other planning documents. These documents will tell you what the project's final deliverables are supposed to be. Second, identify the key team members who understand this work. Together, analyze the documents to pinpoint all the final deliverables. Third, define the level 1 elements. For a phase-based WBS, these are your major project phases. You must ensure that these level 1 elements capture 100% of the project scope. This is known as the 100% rule. Fourth, begin the process of decomposition. This means breaking down each level 1 phase into smaller, unique deliverables at level 2, and then breaking those down further if needed. You continue this decomposition until the work for each element can be managed by a single person or team. A good check is to ask, would breaking this down further make it easier to manage? If the answer is no, then you have gone deep enough. Also, ensure all elements are distinct and do not overlap. Fifth, create the WBS dictionary. This is where you write a clear description for each element, especially the lowest level ones called work packages. These descriptions should include details like boundaries, milestones, risks, and owner, and estimated costs to ensure the entire scope is covered. Sixth, for planning and tracking, you can break down the work packages into specific activities and then transfer your structure into a scheduling tool like a Gantt chart. A word of caution: it is possible to break down the work too much. Since tracking time and cost is tied to the WBS, an overly detailed structure can create unnecessary management work. Finally, let's talk about how the work breakdown structure is used. Initially, it is a planning tool that helps the team define, organize, and understand the full scope. It is the primary source for schedule and cost estimation. However, its greatest value often comes during the project as a tool for monitoring and control. The lowest level elements in the structure are called work packages. These contain all the information about a specific deliverable, but there is also a special type called a planning package. Sometimes, when you start a project, you know a certain area of work is required, but you do not yet know all the details. To adhere to the 100% rule and capture the full scope, you create a planning package as a placeholder. Later, as details become clear, this planning package is decomposed into proper work packages. This approach is known as rolling wave planning. Furthermore, the WBS is used for monitoring progress through control accounts. A control account is any WBS element where the project manager decides to monitor performance. For example, if managing subcontractor risk is important, a project manager might designate specific subcontractor deliverables as control accounts to track their performance closely. Project management software is typically used to collect and report data based on these control accounts. In summary, the work breakdown structure is a versatile and essential tool. It transforms a large project into clear, actionable components, supports detailed planning, and provides a framework for tracking progress and costs from start to finish. By breaking work down into manageable pieces, it brings clarity and control to any project endeavor.